there everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and my craft room here at Random Acts of Stampin'. I'm so glad that you tuned in today. Thank you so much. I thought today we would do a fall card. We are now into September. We're just a couple of days from our mini catalog launching, so mark your calendars because Wednesday this catalog will go live, which means that you can order from it. So that's a great thing. I'm sure that you that have your catalog already made a wish list. So if you need any help in placing your orders, please reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to help you with whatever you need. Also, as a reminder, the paper pumpkin, you have until the 10th of September to order your paper pumpkin if you want to get in on this month's, and it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous kit. They also have a journaling book that is an add-on that you can get, and I'll have more details about that in this coming week. So be on the lookout. Keep a check on my blog because I'll definitely keep updates going there. And if you don't know what my blog is, look in the description box below this video and you will see, and it will say my blog, and there'll be a link. You can just click on it and it'll take you directly there. There on my blog you will find everything you need, from the catalogs that are current that I can show you, which is our annual one right now. You will also find all the projects that I do, and if you look over to the right hand side there's a sidebar and it will give you the months, and anything that happened for the month of August, you can click on that and it will show you everything I did for the month of August, July, June, so forth and so on. Okay, with all that being said, today I'm going to be working with the Autumn Leaves bundle, and this is a great set. You look at the stamp set and you think, it's not that exciting. Let me tell you about these dies. The dies are gorgeous and they can do so much. You have some little textured pieces in here. You have a couple of different labels. You have all of these little fill-ins where you can fill in your different leaves and what have you. This piece right here we're going to use along with this piece, so you'll get to see how that works. And we're going to add some leaves, and we're going to do a fun fold card. I know how much everybody enjoys a fun fold. Y'all know I love them. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to lay this to the side, and this is the specialty paper that comes in this collection. So if you get the collection all about autumn, the specialty paper, the designer series paper, which I'm not using today, I am going to be using the specialty papers, so that's why I have those out. I'm going to lay these over to the side just for a minute, and I'm going to bring in two other items. We're also going to be using the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder. This also comes in that suite, and we're going to pull in our deckled rectangle dies. Now if you not know what deckled means, it means you've got like a torn edge on your paper. So this is the two dies we're going to use. It's actually the 1, 2, 3, the 4th and the 5th from the largest one in. So if you have these dies, you're going to pull those two out, and these are the two that we're going to use, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with those. Let me pull in my paper, and I have pre-cut everything pretty much so that we can kind of just put this card together, and it'll be so much fun. Now if you're wondering about dimensions and measurements and everything, that will be over on my blog. So once this video goes live, which if you're watching it now, it's already live, you can go down and click on my blog and it will take you directly to, and there's a free PDF tutorial that you can click on and print out, have all the pictures, the dimensions, all the items that I use to make this card, and I think you will love that. Alright, the first thing I have here is my piece, my card base, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to do some scoring on it. So I'm going to bring up my scoreboard because we got to score in a couple of different places on this one. So the scoreboard works really good if you're having to do more than 1 or 2 score lines. You're probably going to want to grab your scoreboard. We're going to go in at 2 1/8 and score it, and then we're going to do our regular 4 1/4 and score it. So this is going to be kind of like a, I guess some people call this a Z-fold card, but you're basically going to fold it in half and then fold this back. And that, one other thing we need to fold, we're going to have a little inside card, and this piece is actually 8.5 by 3. So we're going to put this into our scoreboard, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4, because 8.5, 4 1/4 is a half. So that's going to give us that halfway mark right down the middle, just like that. So that's all the scoring we're going to need to do. We do need to do some burnishing. So for that, I'm going to pull out my card base and my, you know, I had it just before we started, so I know it's here somewhere. Here we go. My bone folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up like this and really give this one a good crease. Anytime you're working with a fun fold card, you really want to score your fold lines very, very well. What this does, it helps your card to lay flat, and it just helps everything go together on your card really well. So I'm just giving it a good press, and there is our card base. So now we have 2 pieces. These are going to be mats. One is going to be the mat for the inside. We're going to need to trim that down because this needs to be 4 by 5 1/4. So 4, and this is just a little bit bigger than that. So we're going to take off that 1/4 inch, and then we're going to take a 1/4 inch off this way. So 5 1/4. Just like that. And now this piece is ready to go. We're going to do some embossing, so we're going to emboss that, and that's going to fit in there just like that. And we're going to emboss the piece that goes on the outside, and this piece needs to be, I thought I had cut this piece down, but evidently I didn't. This one needs to be 1 7/8. And if you're wondering where 7/8 is, on this particular trimmer, you have, this one goes to 16, so it's 1 over from the 2. So you'll see the 2, you'll see 1 mark, you'll go to that second one. That is 7/8. So trim that down at 7/8, 1 7/8. And then we're going to turn it this way, and we need it to be 5 1/4. So that's going to be our pieces that we are going to emboss. So let's get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out. And this takes up a good space on my desk because I'm using my big one. And this is where we're going to use this embossing folder. The Distress Tile 3D. This is a beautiful embossing folder, and one I think that you can use on so many different cards for any occasion. So I'm going to line that up in there to that registration line. See that little black line right there? That is like a registration line, and that allows you to line it up, fold it over, and now we can push it through our machine. So I'm going to grab my plates, and I need my number 1 plate, my embossing folder, and you always want to push your closed side in first, and I need that specialty plate, which is the number 4 plate. This machine makes it so easy to do any of your embossing because you have a plate for everything that you need, and it's a very simple sandwich. So we got this one done, and let's take it out and look at it because you know it's going to be gorgeous. Look at that embossing. Isn't that pretty? And it is distressed. You see how it looks like in some places it didn't go all the way through? That's the way the embossing folder is made. So let's lay that up there, and let's grab our other piece because this is the 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And let's close that up and do the same thing. I'm going to run it through this way, so I'm going to put it in that direction, and then I'm just going to roll that through. And this machine cranks like a breeze. If you suffer from any dexterity with your arms or shoulders, this machine is really very user-friendly, and it's not hard to crank anything through it. So I do enjoy it for that reason. One of the best manual die cut machines I've ever used. So we'll go ahead and move that out of our way. I've already done a lot of the die cutting, so we don't have to do that. That can take up a lot of time on a video, so I wanted to kind of do that ahead of time so that I could show you just how pretty this all goes together. So these are our pieces. We're going to put this one down. You're thinking, okay, you got tone on tone. Yes, I do, but when we add our other pieces on here, you're going to see what a beautiful card this is. I'm going to grab my liquid glue, and I'm going to, now this is my favorite glue. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, and I do give a disclaimer. but I love this glue for most of my paper projects, and it's what I like to use. So I do the same on my videos. But you choose whatever type of glue that you like to use. So I'm going to line this up about like so, and about like that, and then I'm going to turn that over and press it down very gently, because you don't want to rub too hard and rub off your embossing. That looks good. And if it looks like it's not gluing in certain edges, just mash it down a little bit. Now we're going to take this one, and this one's going to go right here. And the same thing, I'm just going to put some glue on these edges. Just like that. And I'm going to open it up this way, and I'm going to put this down. I'm going to close it, because what I want to do is make sure these match up. I want this to match up with the top right there, and down here at the bottom. So that way it looks like it's a continuous piece, even though it's not. I'm going to open it up and give it a good little rub right there. And now we're ready to decorate our card. Now remember this little piece that we made. Let's go ahead and burnish the top of this. And I have some very vanilla pieces. I thought the very vanilla would be pretty with these and with the colors we're using. And I want to stamp on this one, and then I want to stamp on this one. One's going to be for the inside, just like that, and one's going to be for the outside, just like that. And then this is all going to go inside of here, something like that. And I've got another piece that's cut the same size as this, and that's that larger die. Remember I told you we're going to use 2 of those. You're going to need to cut 3 out of this one. 1 in your Cajun Craze, and 1 in Very Vanilla, and 2 in Very Vanilla. Then your smaller one, you're going to need to cut 1 in Very Vanilla, because this is going to go on the front of this, and we're going to decorate this piece, and this is going to fit like this. See the beauty of this card? And we're going to try to line everything up so that we cover, and you won't see this until you open it. So let's go ahead and do our stamping next. So I'm going to take this piece first, and stick my pen back in my glue so I don't get a clump. And I want to stamp. I need another piece of this as well, another piece of Very Vanilla. And I have a piece right here. We're going to need another piece of this that's going to be small enough to cut this framelit, or this label die. So this one right here, we're going to cut that out of one of those pieces of Very Vanilla. And I should have done that. I thought I did, but evidently I didn't. I thought I did. Okay, I'm not seeing it, so evidently I did not. But that's okay, we'll cut it. I've got my other die cut machine right here. So what I like to do before I cut is I like to stamp first. So I'm going to do my stamping. So let's start off with the piece that's going to go in here and on the front of this. And this one, I want to say that Autumn, let me get that stamp set and I'll show you. Autumn teaches us that change can be beautiful. I love that on the front of that. I think it's gorgeous, and that is what I want to put on here. So we're going to put this down right about here. Something like that, and I'm going to get a stamp block and pick that up. I think I'm going to line this up because this is a kind of a frilly font, and I want to make sure I'm getting it nice and straight. So, and I've got my Cajun Craze ink right here. This is such a pretty rich color for fall. It's not your average pumpkin. It's more like your rustic browns with a hint of pumpkin in it. And I think it's just a beautiful color, especially for fall. So we're going to stamp that right about here. And I'm going to give that a good press and let that paper absorb that ink. Beautiful. And then the other thing I want to do is I think I want to take those leaves, the 2 leaves right there, and I think I want to stamp them in the corner. Let's see what that would look like. We'll probably stamp them off just a little bit. So I'm going to grab a piece of grid paper, and we're going to put that right there. And we're going to stamp these where they're kind of on, kind of off the edge of the paper. And I might even want to do these a little bit lighter. So yeah, we'll stamp off once and then stamp on. I love it. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that goes on the outside of our little fun fold that's going to go inside our card. So that's going on the outside. So now we need to do the one for the inside. For the inside one, I pulled from a different stamp set because I wanted it to be something that says, may the good you do come back to you, because I thought with change, and sometimes people like to change for the better, I just thought that was a really cute stamp to use. So we're going to put this on the inside, and we're going to put it up to the top. That way it will give us room to sign. That will be the place that we can sign this card. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick it up with this. I got these leaves on the top of it, but that's okay. I think I can see through it enough that we can stamp this right about here. And that looks gorgeous. And I'm going to clean these stamps off just a little bit right there, just so I have a little bit less cleanup when I get ready to go with this. Alright, so this one's going to go on the inside. So I'm going to take some liquid glue and I'm going to glue this in the inside. So I'm just putting glue on the back side of this like so. And I'm going to bring this over and I want to line it up as best I can. Something like that. Isn't that pretty? Now we're going to take the other one. This one is going to go on the front of this. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put glue all over the back of this one. And I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to put this one down, and you want to center it as best you can. Like so. Now that little piece is done, so all we need to do now is our outside piece. Now this piece, I'm going to glue this down before I do anything else, because we are going to put some beautiful leaves on this, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. I had pre-cut a bunch of our leaves. I die cut them, and I'll show you what dies I used. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down on this deckled piece. Isn't that deckled rectangles? They're so much fun. This is a great die set to have in your crafting arsenal, because it does help you have something that's a little different. And in the new mini catalog we have the deckled circles, and they are absolutely stunning. So I'm going to close my ink up for right now because I'm not ready to do my label just yet. What we want to do is bring over all of my little bits and pieces. And look at all these beautiful pieces. This is that gorgeous paper, and I cut that larger leaf out of it. This is it. And what I did is, out of the pretty peacock, that's the color that's inside of that, I cut this little piece out. And look how pretty that's going to be once you glue that on. Now you're probably thinking, oh no, you're going to put foil, you're going to get glue on foil. Yes, I am. But that's okay. We're just going to do some little dots along here, just kind of brush a little bit. Y'all hear Bella snoring in the background. Oh my goodness, that's my girl. She plays hard, she eats hard, and she sleeps hard. She doesn't do anything halfway. Alright, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to try to brush as much of that glue off as I can. And then I want to sit this down so that stem is coming right from the bottom of that leaf. Something like that. And I'm just going to press that, and I'm going to leave it and let that dry, because once that glue dries on there, it's going to be clear and we won't see it. And I got a little bit of glue right there, but it rolled off. That's the beauty of a glass mat. So what I'm going to do now, I want to go ahead and position this in where I want it. And I am thinking probably right about there. I think that will be gorgeous right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to put glue all over the back of it. Now you can use whatever adhesive you like, but I prefer using glue on the back of something like this. You're gluing it down to a textured background, so you need some glue or something that will get into those little nooks and crannies and really adhere it so your piece doesn't come apart. So I'm going to lay this in about like that. Bella. And I'm going to try to get that nice and straight. And that looks pretty good. And then this piece can go right over top of that, about like that. I'm going to move it up. You just want it to be enough that you're covering that section over there. So I'm going to look on this side, and I'm going to use Stampin' Seal. And the reason I'm going to use Stampin' Seal is because I know that I can run it about 2 pieces along here, about like that, and about like that. And I think that will hold my piece exactly where I need it to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down. Let's get it right about to there. I'm going to give it a press. Now we have all these beautiful leaves that we're going to decorate with. And I want this big one to be this sort of the focal point on here. And I got some of these other ones that are just different little leaves. I do want to save one of these, and I think this one for the inside for a reason. But I want to put this one right here. And let's put one of these maybe right there. And maybe one of these over here. I like to lay my leaves out and then decide where I want to glue them down at. And I think that right there would be pretty. Plenty of leaves. It looks like the fall leaves just kind of fell, and it's so pretty. So now I can go ahead and put these leaves down, and you can do one of two things. You can pop them up, which I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use some of my mini glue dots, or dimensionals, not glue dots, but dimensionals. And I'm going to put a couple on there like that. And, you know, I can probably use the larger ones on this. Bella, Bella, Bella. Lay down. That's a good girl. She had her head resting up against my desk, and I think that's what was causing her to snore so bad. So I had her to lay flat, so maybe that'll be a little bit better, and her snoring won't be quite as loud. But you know, I love my Miss Bella, so her snoring never bothers me. And I hear so many of you say, oh, it doesn't bother me either. It's so peaceful sounding. And she does definitely saw some logs. But it's because she's a Shih Tzu, and the Shih Tzus have a very short snout, so they can't always take in the air like a dog with a long snout would have. So she snores. And she also has an elongated palate. She was born like that. We did have her nostrils stretched to help her breathe better when she was a puppy. And we was hoping we wouldn't have to have the surgery where they go in and actually cut into the palate. I'm not sure exactly how they do that, but the vet said that it can't be reversed, so if it doesn't work, you're pretty much stuck with it like that. And we kind of decided if we don't have to do that, we're not. Alright, so I put the big one down first, and I want to work everything else around it. So for that, I'm going to take this one. I think I would love to have one coming off the side up there And I think this teal, or this pretty peacock, it reminds me of a beautiful dark teal. I think that'd be pretty right there. And we have this other little leaf I think would be cute right here. So I'm going to put that one down right about this. And you know, I mean, when you make this card, you decorate it the way you want it to be. It's your card. I always say you don't have to do me, do you. Now this one I do want glue on, and I'm going to stick it right up under the edge of that one. So I'm going to put glue right here at the bottom portion, and I'm going to stick that under right about there, just kind of sticking out a little bit. And I think I might want this one, I don't know, maybe this one here and this one here. I'm gonna pop this one up. So let's see if we can do that with one large dimensional. Yep, that'll work. And pop that in just about like this, kind of over that leaf. And then this one, I think I'm going to have it coming out from under there about like that. And we're going to put glue on this one. Again, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to glue your leaves. It's totally your preference. Okay, that looks so pretty. Do I want that one there? No, I saved that one for something else. Okay, let's move these over here. Get my little things off of there. Now we can put those there, and this is ready, all except the sentiment that says I'm thankful, and that's what we're going to put across the front of it. And that's the stamp right here, and I'm going to line it up on here to get it nice and straight. Pick it up, and again I'm going to use that Cajun Craze. Ink it up and stamp it. I think I'm going to stamp it right about here. Ah, so pretty. I love that. So now we can take this little die that comes in that die set, the same one we've been working with, and we can actually fit it over top of our I'm thankful. This is why I like to do it like this. It's so much easier to position your die over your stamped image than it is to try to stamp it in that small area. So I'm going to anchor it down with that, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And then we're going to put this on here, and we got one more thing we need to do. I think you're going to love this card. Don't you see how pretty this sentiment looks on the front? I think you're going to fall in love with it as much as I have. Okay. Pull that out, and look what a beautiful label that is. Isn't that pretty? There it goes. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to bring this over to about here, and we're going to put that down right about here. And yes, I'm going to glue here and put a dimensional under here. So one dimensional there. And pull that off. And then I'm going to put glue over on this end because it's going to stick to these other leaves. So I'm going to put glue across there. And then I want to make sure I get it positioned where I want it before I actually push it down. And I think right there is gorgeous. And I'm going to hold that right there just for a minute and let that glue catch. And now here is our beautiful little card, and we have an opening here. And you know what? We have some of these other leaves. Who's to say that we could not glue some of these down right here? Something like that. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. And we got one more thing that I want to do. Actually, I'm going to put these two here. Double check that. Yeah, I'm going to put these two here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of glue them one over top of the other just by putting a tiny little bit of glue right there, and then just cross the other one kind of over it like that. And then I'm going to put glue over the back of both of them like this. And then we'll stick those down right in the corner. Those are done. Now when we close this, I want a little leaf to hold that down right about, let's see if we can do it this way. So we're going to pop this up on a dimensional, but the dimensional is only going to be right here, and I'll show you why. A little small dimensional. This is the minis. This is where they come in so handy. And if you don't have the minis, you can cut your large ones in half or in quarters and make this work just as well. So bring that down to about there. That helps hold this down. And then when they get the card, they can easily slide that back under, and that holds everything down. Isn't that a beautiful card? I hope that you are loving it as much as I did. I so enjoyed making this card. I thought it was pretty. I love the tone on tone with the designer series, I mean not the designer series paper, but the cardstock embossed. It's just nothing about this card. I think it's very very tastefully done, and it just screams fall. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this is a card that you may want to replicate. If you do, go over and join our Facebook group and leave me a comment over there. And also leave a comment under this video and let me know if you like this card. And if you want to see it done in different colors, I would love to revisit this when it was that much fun. And this particular fold, you could do this in so many different ways. And you might ask, why didn't you put a mat there? Because this is what folds down. I didn't want the card to be too thick, especially with the dimension that I have going on the front and the double fold right here. I wanted this to kind of be there, but I really do like it. The first one I made it in with using the white, and I think I liked it much better with the very vanilla. This looked a little bit too stark. I didn't do as much of my I didn't use the deckled rectangles. I did the front, but I didn't use them in here, and I really like it better done all the way through. I think it's much more uniformed, but both of the cards are glorious. I think they just scream fall. So thanks again so much for tuning in. God bless and keep you, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to Jesus. He paid the price for us, and the least we can do is honor him with our mouth and our actions. Until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.